So I seem to have rustled a lot of jimmies in my last video, which is perfectly fine. But today I want to showcase you some lovable comments that I received through my personal email, my business email, which I have posted on all of my videos. It's for business purposes typically, but I do get a lot of people sending me hate mail and just some downright nasty things, which honestly kind of really deeply hurt my fragile self-esteem here on YouTube. I'm kidding, by the way. What people say to me online really doesn't affect me in any way. I've been kind of desensitized to it, but I want to showcase you just a small glimpse of what some of these, can I call them furries? I don't know if I should be able to call them furries, because that's just going to get me more people more upset, because these people may not be furries. I had a lot of people tell me, well, that's not what a furry is. A furry is someone who loves anthropomorphic animals. A furry is someone who likes to draw animals. A furry is someone who is an animal. You know, the word seemed to be very subjective to a lot of people in the comment section of my last video, which unfortunately I actually did skim through because I was curious to see what people had to say. Otherwise, I usually don't read comments in my videos, but I was curious on this sense, and there just really is no clear-cut definition of what a furry is. But apparently, I did rustle some jimmies from a few furries who felt the need to write me a personalized email, and there were plenty more, but this is just a few. Dude, fucking kill yourself. Why you made this video is beyond me. Are you happy making me unsub from you? I've been a long-time subscriber for over 3 years, and you make this sort of shit on why you hate a fandom that doesn't affect you. Great way to start out an email by telling me to kill myself. Like, if you want to be an effective communicator, definitely tell someone to kill themselves, because that's really going to, you know, draw in an audience, and definitely want to make them finish reading the sentence or email that you send them. And that is sarcasm, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care how long you've been a subscriber of mine. If you're willing to just unsubscribe over something such as petty as I don't agree with you on certain things within a fandom, then by all means, I'm happy to have you unsubscribe from me. What people don't realize is that when people say I'm unsubscribing to you, literally when you say that, someone else is subscribing to replace you instantly on my channel. And in terms of your last sentence on why I hate a fandom that doesn't affect me, I really wouldn't consider my video hateful. Although the title does say why I hate furries, and you're right, the fandom does not affect me personally, except when I go to conventions, and as I already mentioned, I've been hugged numerous times without the consent of, you know, me saying, okay, let's hug, by random furries who have come up to me when I'm talking to other people and have hugged me from behind, and then they make the little noises and stuff and don't talk to me, which has made me feel uncomfortable. When I see someone who is a furry or someone tells me a furry, I am not offended by that, but I do have an initial judgment on them when they tell me such things. But here's the thing you must understand. Just because something doesn't affect me does not mean that I cannot speak about that said thing. If I don't like a fandom, or I think a fandom is toxic and I give reasons for why I don't like the fandom, just because it doesn't affect me, you seem to be under the delusion that if it doesn't affect you, therefore I am unable or not allowed to speak about it. And that's just simply not the case. I'm a big supporter of freedom of speech. I am fully aware of consequences of what I say and how I say things. But please don't live your life under such a small, narrow-viewed mentality of just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean you can't speak out against it. You're just like the Westboro Baptist Church. You're fur-phobic towards anyone who wears fursuits, pretty much. Like, I thought you were a rational person until this video. Unsubscribing. Hope your furry talk was worth losing me as a recent sub and supporter of your channel. You are garbage now. I'm not sure if comparing me to the Westboro Baptist Church just because I am not a fan of the furry fandom is a really good comparison to make. Especially using the term fur-phobic, which I don't believe is a real thing, because furries do not scare me. They just, in many cases, have made me feel uncomfortable at convention, and I find the fandom to be very bizarre and weird and just not my cup of tea. When you say that I'm fur-phobic, I'm assuming you're trying to compare to me as someone who is a homophobic towards people who are gay. The reason that this does not work is because dressing up in an animal costume or thinking you're an animal, otherkin, or whatever you want to think yourself as, that is a complete choice that you make, whereas your sexuality, whether you're gay, straight, or bisexual, is not so much a personalized choice that you make on your day-to-day life. So please don't compare you dressing up in an animal costume to that of someone who is gay, straight, or bisexual, because that just desensitizes real-life human sexualities that are in this world compared to your reality fantasy world as a puppy or dog or cat or lion or whatever. What the fuck has furries ever done to you, Rep? Seriously, fuck you, dude. You don't get the right to talk shit about us just because you don't understand our culture and what we strive for. The furry community is one of the most loving and accepting communities I've ever been a part of, and here you're telling thousands of people why you don't like furries. So what if I don't talk when I'm in a fursuit? If you feel uncomfortable by us, that's your fault for not being loving and accepting of us. I'm done with this channel. Hope you fucking drink bleach or kill yourself, you depressed fuck. You know, I thought your email was actually perfectly fine, didn't really have any issue until you called me a depressed fuck. Please kill myself. And while I do have depression, I'm thankful that people like yourself don't actually mentally affect me in a negative way. Rather, I actually feel really sorry for you that you feel the need to say that simply because someone disagrees or doesn't hold the same opinion about furries that you do. And what's up with that sentence? If you feel uncomfortable by us, that's your fault for not being loving and accepting of us? Are you seriously suggesting that if I was accepting and loving of all furries, therefore I would not feel uncomfortable? This may be a big of a stretch comparison, but imagine if a pedophile made that exact same statement to a child for saying, you know, a kid communicates that he's uncomfortable, doesn't want to be touched by a grown full man, or even a woman, and the pedophile says, well, you're not being accepting of me touching you, so that's why you feel uncomfortable, because you need to accept me touching you and accept me for who I am. That's just the most skewed, disgusting logic I think I've ever heard. If you feel uncomfortable by us, that's your fault for not being loving and accepting. I don't even want to go into the full detail for why that sentence is downright wrong and fucked up, but I hope you guys can see that just because someone disagrees with you on a said thing, especially with a fandom, that doesn't mean that you have to tell me that I should kill myself or send such aggressive email trying to physically make me upset about myself or what I have to say. Because when you send emails like this to me, it really goes to show that I was right on how I feel about that fandom. I don't want to be a part or be interested in a fandom that honestly has reactionary individuals within the fandom like this. And this goes for all fandoms in general. I'm sure if I made an anti-Doctor Who video, which I'm not going to, by the way, I like Doctor Who, I would get similar comments like this. If I made a video against My Little Pony or Homestruck or whatever it be, people would be very upset and I would get similar emails like this about that fandom. But I ask that if you're part of a fandom, please try to be rational and don't make your fandom look bad and toxic by sending these deplorable messages by wishing anyone to kill themselves, because that, as much as it doesn't affect me, it's not right, and it makes you look bad.